Praise the Lord. Today we are going to see about the life of Isaac from Genesis chapter 26. So in this chapter, we are going to see that Isaac is going to face so much of conflict and how he is going to react and how God helped him to resolve that conflict. Let me share the screen so you can understand that what I am teaching about it. So this today's topic is about the life of Isaac from Genesis chapter 26. The topic of this message is overcome conflict to remain under God promise. In our life, we can face so much of conflict. So in the life of Isaac also, he is facing so much of conflict, especially in Genesis 26. At first, he faced the conflict when his father Abraham took him to be sacrificed on Mount Moriah. There he kept quiet and surrendered to the Lord. And there he came out of such a great problem. And God allowed Abraham to sacrifice a ram instead of Isaac. So God blessed Abraham unconditionally. And that blessing is passed on to his son Isaac. Today we are going to see what are the conflict the Isaac is going to face. For that, let us take the key verse for this message is Genesis chapter 26, 3 to 4. In this key verse, God is giving the blessing what God has given to Abraham, and he's passing on to Isaac. And he is telling only one thing: stay in this land a while, because the situation is going to come that Isaac has decided to move away from the promised land towards Egypt, because there was a great famine. But God is insisting Isaac to stay in this land. Then God told that I will make your descendant numerous as the stars in the sky, and I will give them all these lands, and through your offspring, all nations of the earth will be blessed. So the blessing of Abraham, as it is revealed in Genesis chapter 12, is descendant, land, and blessing. That blessing is going to give, God is giving and appearing to Isaac and giving it to him in Genesis chapter 26, 3 and 4. So with this as a keyword, let us move towards the life of Isaac. When we want to know more about the life of Isaac, the places where he moved revealed the entire life cycle of the Isaac. First of all, in the introduction case, let us see it is likely that Isaac was born at Beersheba, as revealed in Genesis chapter 21, when Abraham was 100 years old and Sarah was 90 years old. Isaac, which means laughter, was born to that couple at Beersheba. And because Abraham and Sarah were stayed in Beersheba at that time, most of the time at the end of the age, Abraham stayed at Beersheba. Then God tested Abraham to sacrifice Isaac. That happened at Mount Moriah. There, Abraham testing was finished, and Isaac was saved, and instead of Isaac, a ram was sacrificed. And after this incident, Abraham, Isaac, and those with them returned to Beersheba and stayed there, according to Genesis chapter 22. So now we see in this map the movement of Isaac. So the Isaac moved from place to place several times within the southern Canaan. So Canaan is a promised land which is given to Abraham descendant. The first descendant of Abraham is nothing but the Isaac, and to him all the descendant blessings are passed. So here this Isaac is moving around Canaan because he is facing so much of conflict. To overcome that conflict, is moving around that Canaan. First of all, let us see from this map that Isaac life is altogether is moved in 9 different places. From that, we can understand how the Isaac the life is altogether moving towards in the northern, that is in southern Canaan. First of all, the point is that Isaac, when reached adulthood, his father servant has to bring a bride for him from the Arab Nahayim, from the north of for Isaac. But Isaac met that Rebecca at Negev, because at that time Isaac came out from Berlai Rohi. So first of all, Isaac was staying in Berlai Rohi. Berlai Rohi is a place where God appeared to Hagar and gave the promise that his son is going to be saved and he's going to become a great person, and 12 descendants, 12 princes are going to come through him. So there, the life of Hagar's son Ismael was saved, and he was also taken care, and that was revealed to Hagar in Berlai Rohi. The Berlai Rohi means God would sees him. So Isaac want to stay in the Berlai Rohi, and he is a man of meditation and prayer, so he's staying there. So after staying there, one day he came from Berlai Rohi to Negev. There he met Rebecca, that Abraham's servant brought Rebecca from Abraham's relative Nahor to get married to Isaac. From Negev, Isaac moved along with Rebecca to Berlai Rohim. He married Rebecca and stayed in the Berlai Rohim, where Isaac's mother Sarah's tent was there. So in Sarah's tent, Isaac and Rebecca started their married life. And Berlai Rohim, in Berlai Rohim only, Isaac and Rebecca gave birth. Isaac and for Rebecca gave birth the twin children Esau and Jacob. So this has happened everything in Berlai Rohim. And after that, what happened is Abraham died, and Abraham was buried, and but Isaac stayed along with his wife Rebecca and the two children in Berlai Rogi for a long time. At that time, when we were staying there in Berlai Rogi, there was a great famine. Famine means in those places, because that place is already a red place, somewhat full of desert. There is no rain, the water get reduced, and the cattle started to die without water and without grazeland. Isaac was facing a crisis here. There was a famine. So Isaac decided to move towards Egypt. That's what Abraham did when there was a famine. He went to Egypt. Isaac wants to follow the same thing, and he want to move towards Egypt. For that, he traveled from Berlai Rohi and moved towards Gerar. From there only he started going towards Egypt. When he was in Gerar, God appeared to him and told him that you have to stay in this land, the promised land. No need to go to Egypt. And moreover, he said, you stay in this land, I will bless you. Because why God is appearing immediately and telling Isaac, I will bless you means because in Gerar, Isaac is going to face so much of conflict. In that conflict, God is giving already the promise that he is going to bless him, and is going to help him to come out of all the conflict. So from this here we can understand. So from Berlai Rohi, he's moved towards Gerar, and then from Gerar, because of jealousy, he was thrown out of the Gerar. Then he went towards the valley of Gerar. In the valley of Gerar also, there's going to be the conflict regarding the well. So from valley of Gerar, he moved towards further towards Berlai Rogi, there he stayed there and dig another well. There is going to be another conflict. From there, he moved towards Beersheba. And in Beersheba, God appeared again to him. And from there, he moved towards Memory. There he died, and he was buried in Hebron. So he moved towards the 9 places. The entire life of Isaac is going around these moving places. That's what this map shows. But today we are going to see what actually happened in Genesis chapter 26 is that Abraham, during the time of Isaac, there was a great famine, and that's what it is revealed. And what are the conflict he's going to face it? So the conflict to overcome, to remain under the God's promises. Today's message in Genesis chapter 26, Isaac faced a series of conflict when living in Gerar, a region controlled by the Philistines. As you know that this land is not fully occupied by this descendant of still now not occupied, but it was promised to the descendant of Abraham, but it was occupied only in the time of Joshua. Until that time, these people are living as a sojourners and as a travelers. So here he is traveling around the southern Canaan. So he at that time in the region of Gerar, it was controlled by the tribal people called Philistines. Then there each conflict reveals something about God's faithfulness. What are the conflicts Isaac is facing? He is understanding each and every time how God is faithful, and through this Isaac's character was revealed, and how to handle strife with wisdom and peace. That also is revealed in his life, because first of all, in first conflict, he maybe seems to be a failure person, but in coming other conflict, his character revealed, because with the help of wisdom and peace, he overcame other conflict, and at last God himself came and resolve the conflict. So the Genesis chapter 26 topic is conflict to overcome, to remain under God's promise. What was the God's promise given to Isaac? The God's promise is that the land belongs to Abraham's descendant. So Isaac has to stay in this promised land. He should not go to Egypt. So while staying in that, he has to overcome those conflict to remain under God's promise. That is the topic of Genesis chapter 26. And it is this chapter has 33 verses and divided into 4 groups. There are 3 conflict, and fourth one is a resolution of the conflict. The first conflict is about conflict over Isaac's identity. If you want to say the identity, if a person go and ask a person what is the identity, he say his name and his wife's name and his children name and his occupation and all the things. So here there is going to be conflict over Isaac identity itself. That is, we are going to see in Genesis chapter 26, 1 to 11 verse. After this, there is going to be another conflict about the conflict over Isaac's prosperity. He's going to be a prosperous person. That's also became a conflict because the Philistine people, and moreover the king himself got very jealous of the prosperity of Isaac. There he is facing a conflict. After that, as you know that since there was a famine, Isaac was moving around the places in search of water. So after third conflict is a conflict over wells. And because God has blessed Isaac, and he started to dig more wells, and he started to open the well already digged by his father Abraham. And there how he is going to face the conflict that is there in Genesis chapter 26, 17 to 22. And at last, the conflict is going to be resolved because those people who sent them, who made conflict with Isaac, they themselves came and make a covenant and oath with Isaac and resolve the conflict. That is there in Genesis chapter 26, 22, 23 to 33. So this conflict chapter starts with famine. And during the crisis, first of all, God appeared to Isaac in the land of Gerar, and at last, when he was in Beersheba, again God appeared and gave blessing to him. So in this chapter, there is going to be theophany of God. Twice happened, and there are 3 other conflict happened, and at last the conflict was resolved. So let us see about each one and each and conflict side by side. The first conflict is conflict about Isaac identity. That is there in Genesis 26, 1 to 11. There we'll see Genesis chapter 26, 1 is the beginning, is revealing what a crisis. First of all, Isaac is going through. The crisis is nothing but now there was a famine in the land beside the previous famine in Abraham's time. As we learned that in Genesis chapter 13, there was a famine during the Abraham time. At that time, Abraham went to Egypt. There he faced a shameful thing because there he revealed, he concealed the truth that Sarah is his wife and told that Sarah is sister. There, and the Pharaoh got very angry once he understand. God revealed to Pharaoh that Sarah is nothing but not as Abraham's sister but a real wife. So the Pharaoh sent Abraham and Sarah out of Egypt. That was a shameful thing happened to Abraham when he went to Egypt. Now here Isaac also want to follow his father's route and want to go to Egypt to survive to famine. And so Isaac went to Abimelech, king of Philistia in the Gerar. First of all, he went to Philistia in Gerar. Then he thought of going to 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 Egypt. How can we know that? Because it is clearly revealed in Genesis chapter 26, 2 and 3, there is going to be a divine promise. What is a divine promise? Why there is a divine promise? Because when Isaac reached Gerar along with his family and also his cattle and flocks and also servants, their Lord appeared to Isaac and said, do not go down to Egypt, live in the land where I tell you to live. That is the first instruction given by God when there was when the first theophany. The first theophany to Isaac is nothing but the Lord appeared to Isaac at Gerar and said, do not go down to Egypt, live in the land where I tell you to live. Stay in this land for a while and I will be with you and I will bless you. Why God is blessing already is because he's going to face a conflict. Before that, God is telling, I will bless you. For to you and your descendant, I will give all this land and will confirm the oath I will swore to your father Abraham. Because why I am giving this land? Because already I swore an oath to your father Abraham Abraham, because of that, I'm already giving this to you and your descendant. I will make your descendant as numerous as stars in the sky, and I will give them all these lands. But now they are sojourners, but God is again promising, I'll give this land to your generation, and through your offspring, all the nations of the earth will be blessed. That was given to Abraham. The same blessing is passed to Isaac. It actually happened in the life of Jesus Christ, who came in the family of David, who's nothing but them belong to the Jacob family, and Jacob is a son of Isaac. So through Jesus Christ, the entire earth is going to be blessed. That already is going to be fulfilled. So as in the New Testament days, we know how it was fulfilled because Abraham obeyed me and did everything I required of him, keeping my commands, my decrees, and my instruction. Because God is again insisting about Abraham here. In this case, we can see God is mentioning Abraham and Abraham three times in this condition, because Abraham is nothing but a friend of God Jehovah. God is talking to Abraham face to face, and Abraham, God is also revealing, Abraham is my friend. I never hide anything from the Abraham which I'm going to do. So these are the testimony of God about Abraham. That's why when God is talking to Isaac, he's mentioning about Abraham three times. And hearing this, what Isaac decided, so Isaac stayed in Gerar. So he decided to stay, not to go to Egypt. He changed his plan. Now what is going to happen at that time? What conflict he's going to face is that first of all, there is appearance of God. Why God appeared? Why immediately God appeared? Because he was staying in Berla Rohi for so many years. There he prayed also to his wife Rebecca, because after the marriage of Isaac and Rebecca for 20 years, Rebecca didn't have any children. Only after Isaac prayed, Rebecca conceived and gave birth to twins. There also he didn't get the appearance of God. But here in Gerar, he is getting the appearance of God, the first theophany, because when it happened, right after a famine hit the land, and Isaac considered going to Egypt, at that time there is going to be appearance of God. And what God said to Isaac when he appeared, don't go to Egypt, live in the land. I will be with you and will bless you. I will confirm the word I swore to your father Abraham. I was confirming again, and he's giving all these promises again. Why God appeared? That's another question is there, because to guide Isaac in the crisis. The crisis now is famine, and after that he's going to face so much of conflict. To confirm the covenant made with Abraham now belong to Isaac. Because when you see the life of Jacob, and also in the life of Joseph and all, when they are when they are when they are at the end of the deathbed, even Isaac also, even in the life of Isaac, in the life of Jacob, when they are on the deathbed, they bless their children. That blessing went to their children. But in the case of Abraham, before he died, he didn't do any blessing to Isaac. So it seems that why he didn't bless, there was a great void in that. To fill up the void, God appeared here, and to confirm the covenant made with Abraham now belonged to Isaac. And third one, to reassure him, I'll be with you. So why God is reassuring again and again? If God is reassuring us the promise again and again, that means we are going to face so many crises. At that crisis, we have to remember those promises and overcome that crisis. So for this reason, God appeared to him. So what application, what lesson we learn from that the appearance of God to Isaac is that God shows up in moment of uncertainty to provide direction, identity, and promise. That is what happened to each and every believers of God. Even the entire world is going to face the famine, because all the people in Canaan is going to face a famine. Moreover, Isaac is not an owner of the land; he's just a sojourner. But how much is going to affect it is more. But to during this crisis, how to lead, where to go, how to take the decision, and what are the promise to overcome those crises. Those all these things God want to show to Isaac. In the same way, God will show to us also. The Isaac needed to know, you are not just Abraham's son, you are my chosen servant too. In the way we are also the chosen servant of God. Wherever we are sent, there we are doing the God's ministry. We are like a stewards. We are like ambassador to God to take the gospel to all the places where we are going. That's what happening in the life of Isaac also. Now there is going to be an internal fear, lack of trust in God's protection. This is going to happen to Isaac, because even after God promised. He see the circumstance was the Gerar, because Isaac feared the man of Gerar would kill him to take Rebekah, his wife. So he lied, saying she was his sister, just like his father Abraham has done in Egypt. Same thing, same mistake Isaac is also finding, because of his internal fear and the lack of trust in God's protection. He lied and compromised and tell that Rebecca was his sister. So what happened is he risked moral compromise to protect himself. Whenever the internal fear come and attacks, whenever we lack trust of God, protection, we started to compromise with the world to protect ourselves. That's what happened to Isaac. At how to overcome it, King Abimelech eventually discovered the truth and rebuked Isaac, but protected him afterward. Even though Isaac made the mistake of telling Rebekah is his sister, but God helped Isaac, because God already told, I will bless you because you are going to face a crisis there. One day, King Abimelech came to know that because they stayed there for a very long time. One day, when King Abimelech see through the windows, he saw that Isaac was playing with Rebekah, not as a brother sisterly way, like a husband and wife way. So he suddenly came to know that Rebekah was Isaac's wife by seeing this action, and called Isaac and scolded both of them. And why you did like this? Isaac told that I'm afraid that your people will take my wife and kill me. So at that time, immediately, even though the king Abimelech was angry, he called us all these people and told that Rebekah was the wife of Isaac, and you should not touch the lady. If anybody touched him, you will be killed. So in that way, God protected him afterward. What lesson we learn from this incident? What Isaac faced? Even God chosen people struggle with fear. So that is what is happening. But God still protect and work through them. It's what happened there. So whenever you are fearful, don't compromise with other people and tell the lies. Instead of that, go to God and take strength from the God and ready to face it, because God already promised He'll protect you and gave the promise, and obey and rely on the promise, not on your own understanding. So this was happened in the life of the first year. About this conflict happened. In that conflict, there is a conflict of identity of Isaac. There, Isaac was not victorious about this in this case, but God, in spite of that, God helped him. So in our life also, how to overcome fear that tempt us to tempt us to hide the truth. Most of the time, when the fear comes, we try to hide the truth. We don't want to reveal the truth, because we think that when we reveal the truth, we'll face so much of crisis. So most of the time, not only for Isaac, most of the believers, you try to facing this type of crisis. At that time, what we have to do, what we learn from the life of Isaac is that fear focused on what could go wrong, but faith focused on what God has promised. So let us not focus on the what is going to happen wrong when I reveal the truth, but focus on the faith, because God has already promised it is going to be with us. Even when we do mistakes and repent it, God will ready to forgive us and make a way to come out of that problem. So first, trust God's protection more than our own plan. Already Isaac has planned to tell that Rebecca is his wife. So because of relying on his own plan, he forgot and didn't rely on the God's protection. So to come out of the fear that tempts us to hide the truth is, first of all, we have to trust God's protection more than our plan. Next is be honest, even it feels risky. So as a children, God, when Bible says yes and yes, no and no, don't lie, because lying is what Jesus hated. So if you lie your nearby brother, that is not loving your brother. So lying what is what? We are relying on own plan and not depending upon the God's, trusting upon the God. So we should be honest, even if it feel risky. If we have hidden the truth out of fear, it is not too late. Repent and receive grace from God and come out of that wrongdoing, and honestly reveal your mistake to others. And God will certainly forgive you, and the people around you also in one day understand what's the problem you went through and try to make a friendly with you. And third thing is, let God restore what fear tried to cover. Then here also, with the fear, because of fear, Isaac covered that and revealed that and concealed that Rebecca is his wife. But God Himself restored this problem, and nothing happened to the life of Rebecca, and even to the life of Isaac. So God restore what fear tried to cover in our life. So whenever you face a fear, and whenever you are tempted tempted because of fear to hide the trust. You have to do the three things, because fear focus on what could go wrong, but faith focus on what God has promised. So first, what you have to do is trust God protection more than your plan. Be honest even when it feels risky. And so if you hide anything because of fear, it is not too late. Repent and receive grace. And third one is, let God restore what fear tried to cover. Don't try to restore by yourself. Allow God to restore what the fear tried to cover you. So that way you can overcome this problem. So the first conflict is over, and readily there is another conflict Isaac is going to face. That conflict is conflict over Isaac's prosperity. Even Abraham moved from Beersheba towards Gerar in search of water. He want to move towards Egypt, but God insists him to stay in Gerar. It seems that even in the Gerar also there is going to be famine, because if there is water in Gerar, Isaac might have stayed there. He didn't have any plan to go to Egypt. So if God is telling to stay in Gerar, because the situation is still famine situation, but Isaac obeyed God and stayed in Gerar. Because of this obedience, Isaac is going to become a prosperous person. Seeing that prosperity, the people are going to be jealous over him, and that we call as a conflict over Isaac's prosperity. That is there in Genesis chapter 26, 12 to 16. There, here we see again in the map what is happening here now. From Berlai with Isaac along with his family moved to Gerar. In Gerar, there is a problem happened, conflict over the identity of Isaac, and then what happened is that here he is going to flourish a lot, because Abimelech told the people, you should not touch Rebecca, and if you touch anybody, if you do anything wrong to them, you will be killed. So they stayed there happily and for many days, and God started to bless whatever Isaac did. When he sowed the one portion of grain, he cultivated hundredfold portion of harvest. In that way, God blessed him, and his flocks increased, his servant increased, his prosperity increased. Seeing that the people in Gerar, like Philistines, started to feel jealous about it, about him. Even the king was also jealous, and he told Isaac, to move away from them, go away, because you become prosperous. That's what happened in Gerari. That is called about conflict over the Isaac's prosperity. So how Isaac became prosperous? That is there in Genesis chapter 26, 12 to 14. There is a famine, but still Isaac became a prosperous person. How it happened? Because Isaac planted crops in that land, and the same year reaped a hundredfold, because the Lord blessed him. That is what is happening. But reaped a hundredfold, whatever one portion he sowed, but he cultivated hundredfold on the same year, not another year, on the same year. So every year he is collecting hundredfold of blessing. The man became rich, and his wealth continued to grow until he became very wealthy. He had so much flocks and herds and servants that Philistine invited him. So there is a conflict over Isaac's prosperity. Not only the people invited him, the king also got very angry and also expelled Isaac from Gerar. That is there, Genesis chapter 26, 15 and 16. So all the well that his father's servant had dug in the times of father Abraham, the Philistines stopped up, filled them with the earth. Why they are doing like this? Because as Isaac started to open the well, what this father Abraham did, when Abraham dig the well in Philistine before 90 years, about 90 years before, Abraham stayed in the Gerar. There also conflict happened. There also the king Abimelech came and made covenant with them. Abraham, that we called as a Beersheba, the oath of seven. Because of that, Abraham stayed there for a long time in Beersheba, and also not only in Beersheba, and also in Gerar. There he dug so much of well. Those wells, Isaac started to reopen and use those well. Because of that, also he is becoming very, very, very rich and prosperous. So the people of Philistine stopped those and filled them with the earth. They don't want Isaac to use his father Abraham's well. So before they closed it, just closed it, now they are filling the well with earth, so he cannot reuse it again. So they become very, very bad and very jealous. The conflict increases day by day. Then Abraham said to Isaac, move away from us. You have become too powerful for us. The same thing happened in the case of Egypt. When people of Israel increases, the Pharaoh got angry. He became very powerful. So the Pharaoh want to put put them under the slavery. The same thing happened here also. Abimelech told Isaac, move away from us, move away from Gerar, because you became so powerful for us. Then where did Isaac went? Here the Isaac went from Gerar to the valley of Gerar. So let us see the application point. When people envy or reject you for being blessed, what you have to do? What Isaac did? Isaac was blessed, but instead of being celebrated, he was pushed away. That can happen when you are doing well spiritually, when you do God's ministry spiritually, your people will push away you. Financially, if you have become prosperous, that time also people push away you. Or even emotionally, if you are very strong, that time also people try to push away you and don't understand or support you. At that time, what you have to do? Don't let rejection make you bitter. That's what Isaac did. What Isaac did, that we are going to see in coming slide. Don't let rejection made you bitter. Keep your heart soft, and trust God to open new door. Now, Abimelech is telling, go away from her. God has opened the new way, because God only told Isaac to stay in Gerar. So now what happened is that let us see what is happening there. He moved from Gerar to the valley of Gerar. From Gerar to valley of Gerar, he moved. So now Isaac thought, no, I moved to the valley of Gerar, there won't be any conflict. That's what Isaac thought. But here also, Isaac is going to face another conflict, that is conflict over well. That is going to third conflict. The first conflict is conflict over his identity. The second conflict is conflict over prosperity, because the Abimelech send him out away from Gerar. Now, because of that, he moved from Gerar to the Gerar Valley. There he's going to see the third conflict is conflict over the well. Let us see, because in the valley of Gerar, he's going to discover many well. Not only in the Gerar, and also in the valley of Gerar, Abraham has dig so many wells, so many wells. So in the Gerar, when Isaac tried to open his father's well, the people got jealous and filled the well with earth. Now in the valley of Gerar also, he found out so many wells of his father Abraham. There he again tried to open it, and there is going to be a great conflict over the well. That's what happened in Genesis chapter 26, 11 to 19, because they are going to discover not only he reopens Abraham's well, he's going, this Isaac's servants is going to discover many wells also. So Isaac moved away from there and encamped in the valley of Gerar, where he settled also. Isaac reopened the wells that has been dug in the time of his father Abraham, which the Philistine had stopped up after Abraham died, and he came and he gave them the same names his father has given them. How come Isaac know the name his father Abraham gave to the well? Because Isaac also up there with Abraham and saw how God blessed Abraham, and how Abraham's servant dig so many well, and what name Abraham gave to them, and he gave all the name to them. Again reopen it and started to use those water also, and he's again becoming more and more and more and rich. Isaac's servants dug the valley and discovered a well of fresh water there. Not only the well of the father, they have discovered the spring. The spring is nothing but it's a spring of fresh water. Sometimes the bedrocks collect the rainwater and collect under its bedrock. When you make a dig that rock, the water spring out of it. We call it as a spring. It is nothing but a fresh water come out of it. So again, not only the well, they are discovering the well of fresh water. More and more the conflict is coming and attacking Isaac. The more and more God is blessing him, because God only told Isaac to stay in that place. So what then, even though they discovered so many wells, what happened is that there is going to be again conflict. But the herders of Gerar quarreled with those of Isaac. Who are the herders of Gerar? The herders are nothing but who take care of their cattle. The Philistine herders take use of those land, grazing land and water, and give water and grass to their herds. But here what is happening? Isaac is coming there, and he is using those grassland and water for his cattle. So there is going to be a great quarrel, and they told that the water is ours. Even though that the well was dug by Isaac's servants, the Gerar herders are telling the water is ours. So he named the well Esek, because they disputed with him. There was a dispute, so Esek means disputed, quarrel. So he can named his Esek. Instead of fighting with them, he called them Esek. That means they took that well. So he didn't care about it. He didn't fight with them. But what he dug, then they dug another well. So what they did, let you take the will. God is with me. My servant will dug another well, the same way, the servant dug another well, but they quarreled over that one also. So he named it Sitana. So I want to show where is in the map, where is that Esek and where is the Sitana. In the map, can you see from Gerar, he was moved away from Gerar to valley of Gerar because of the king asked him to go away from there. There he dug the well, and there the herders came and said that is their water, and he named him Esek. Esek means dispute. From there, because since there is a great dispute, Isaac moved from the valley of Gerar towards his towards another place, that is Negev. Towards his move towards Negev, there he settled, and there his servant again dig another well. There is going to be again conflict, and he called that well Sitna. Sitna, which means dispute, quarrel. So wherever he is moving, wherever the servants are digging the well, there is going to be the conflict, and again Isaac didn't fight with them. Again they took the well for themselves, but Isaac named that well as Sitna, which is a dispute and quarrel. And again, after some time, what he did, his servant again dig another well, and called this as that well. There is no conflict. For the third well, there is no conflict. So Isaac called this as a Rehoboth. Let us see that. So Isaac moved away from there and encamped in the valley of Gerar, where he settled. Isaac reopened the well that has been dug in the time of father Isaac, Abraham, where the Philistines stopped up when Abraham died, and he gave them the same name his father has given them. Isaac's servant dug in the well and discovered a well of fresh water there. And what happened? So, but the herders of Gerar quarreled with them for the Isaac and said, the water is ours. So he named the Isaac because they disputed with him. Then they dug another well, but they quarreled over that one also. So he named Sitna. So Sitna means quarreled, Esek means dispute. So those two wells, the herders of Gerar took it. And after that, what happened? He dug another well that is called Rehoboth. He moved on from there and dug another well, and no one quarreled over it. He named it Rehoboth, saying, now God has given us room and we will flourish in the land. So what do we mean by Rehoboth? Rehoboth means wide, broad, and spacious. So he named his Rehoboth. First is Esek, Sitana, dispute, and quarrel. And now there is no quarrel, no dispute. Now this is a place what God has given me, so I can stay in this place. God has given me the room, and I call this well as a Rehoboth. Why he is calling this Rehoboth? Because in those days, when you want to settle, your cattle need water, and your crops need water. If the well is there, you can get the water from that, and you can survive. So they can settle over there. So if a person want to settle in a place, first of all, he has to dig the well. With that water only, he has to stay there. In this case, it happened there is no conflict. That becomes Rehoboth, and there he want to settle there. So so God has blessed him with another well, Rehoboth. So what's the application point? What we learn from this incident of a conflict over the well? What to do when we face repeated opposition? Here Isaac faced opposition first in Gerar, and he was thrown away to valley of Gerar. And the valley of Gerar, there is a conflict of well. First well they took it, Isaac, and second well they also took it, Sitana, and third one only there was no conflict. So here we can see whatever Isaac do, he is repeatedly facing the opposition. What we have to do in this condition? Let us see what Isaac did that we have to do. Isaac kept digging well, and every time he tried to settle, someone picked a fight, starting something new only to face resistance. Every time someone is picking the fight. So what Isaac did, he didn't give up. He go on dig the well. So first thing, when you face the opposition repeatedly, don't give up. First point. Second point is keep moving forward in faith. Don't stay lethargically and don't do anything and think that whatever I do, I'm going to be failure. Don't be like that. Keep moving forward in faith. Third one, trust that God will eventually lead you to Rehoboth. Always trust in your mind. If you are facing more and more opposition, God will certainly is going to give the Rehoboth a spacious place, a peaceful place. So these three things you have to do when you face the repeated opposition in your life. So where is Rehoboth for me? So wide open space or room to flourish is Rehoboth. When we face repeated conflict or rejection, when our plans keep getting blocked, Rehoboth is for us might be a space where we can grow without striving, be yourself without fear, and experience God's presence without constant pressure. So what is a Rehoboth for you? When you repeatedly face conflict and rejection, when whatever thing is going to be blocked, that your Rehoboth is nothing but a place God is going to give, where you are going to be yourself without fear, without striving. You are going to experience God's presence there without without any continuous pressure. So that is our that's going to be Rehoboth. How to get that blessing of Rehoboth? Isaac did not get into the Rehoboth immediately. He perseveres through losses. He keep on going. He didn't keep quiet. He's persevering and moving on, choosing peace over proving himself each and every time. The people, the Gerar herders came and fight with him and took the well. He didn't prove himself and tell that this is my father's well. That's why I'm eating. He didn't prove himself. He chose peace and he kept quiet. Instead of that fighting, he trusted God. In that way, you do also, and you will also get the Rehoboth in your life, even though you face opposition again and again, even though there are many enemies are against you, you persevere through losses. You are going to face losses because Rehoboth, Isaac faced so many losses. To dig a well, they need more of manpower. Much time is needed. Everything is lost in 1 minute. They took that. If you can see how painful it is for the workers, for the Isaac, that's a great loss. In spite of all the losses, he moved on, he persevered. So even if you face losses in your life because of the conflict and the enemies put on you, persevere through losses, choose peace over proving yourself, and trust God. Then you surely receive the Rehoboth from God. So this is about the third conflict is also over. Conflict over the well. How it is over? Because God blessed him. God himself blessed Isaac with the well, whether it is called Rehoboth. Now Rehoboth, now he thought there's going to be no problem. But God, not only God gave the Rehoboth, there is going to be a complete resolution for this conflict that's going to happen at last. That is there in Genesis chapter 26, 23 to 33. There, what is going to happen is that after staying in Rehoboth for some time, what happened? Isaac moved again towards Beersheba. When he reached Beersheba, God appeared to him again. First, God appeared in Gerar before the conflict started, and now in Beersheba, God again appeared to Isaac. After God's appearance from Gerar, the Philistine king came and made a oath, a covenant with Isaac, and told that conflict, let us stop the conflict. Now I came to know that you are the man of God. God is with you, and whatever you do, God is blessing you. So I don't want to make any conflict with you. Now I want to make a oath with you. So they made a oath in Beersheba. And not only that, after the oath is made, the servants of Isaac came and told that they found they discovered a well, and Isaac called that well Sheba. Sheba means seven, and that place became Beersheba. So in that place, there was a great well, and there was no conflict because in that Beersheba, the king himself came and make a covenant with Isaac and told that hereafter my people never do any conflict with you. You should not also come and make any fight with us. There is going to be a peace treaty, and there is a covenant, there is an oath. Let us separate ourselves. You take all your blessing yours, and my people never come and take your blessing. Well, everything is over. So after that is over, after that oath is finished, after those king and the king's officers returned back, the servant of Isaac came and told Isaac that they have found a well, and at that time Isaac called that well Sheba, which means seven, and that place became Beersheba. There Isaac put the tent, and he stayed in the Beersheba for a very long time. After staying there the conflict again happened. The conflict didn't start. The conflict from outside is over, but conflict inside the house happened there. What's the conflict? The conflict between Isaac's sons, Esau and Jacob. There Jacob and Esau, because Jacob betrayed and deceived Isaac and betrayed Esau. Both of them got very angry. Jacob moved towards his uncle's house, Aram, and Esau also moved away from Beersheba. After staying in Beersheba, Isaac, along with his wife, moved to Memory. There he stayed in the Memory for very long time. After 20 years, Jacob came back from his uncle's house and stayed with Isaac for some time. There Isaac died, and Isaac was then buried in Hebron, that is a cave what Abraham bought for his descendant. In that way, the life of Isaac was finished, ended. Even in his life, he faced so much of conflict. In spite of all the conflict, we can say Isaac was a man of faith, is a man of meditation, because he started his journey from Berlai Rohi. Because Berlai Rohi means God one sees. So God was seeing wherever Isaac is going, and God is with him and God is blessing him. In spite of all his failure also, he came out of that failure in Beersheba, in Gerar, and after that, in all other conflict, he was very, very strong. He was a man of meditation. He believed in God. He never fight with the people, because how you came out of all these things and how you overcome all this conflict is that because he stayed strong in faith, and moreover he's a man of prayer, and he loved the people, and hate them and never hate them and make fight with them. So that is the first thing Isaac did. Next is he made peace when possible. Whenever possible, here the king came and want to make a treaty. Immediately Isaac made the treaty without arguing with him, and then he's a man of prayer. So how to resolve the conflict in our life is stay strong in faith and prayer and love, even when it is hard. Make peace when possible, and pray like this: Lord, lead me to the place where your peace rests. Help me live with the patience until I see your promise to fulfilled. So in this condition, even though you face so much of a opposition, you can stay in that place, and until God fulfill the promise, in spite of the conflict you face. So today's at last today's ending verses, Genesis chapter 26, 12 and 3. Isaac planted crop in that land, and the same year reaped 100-fold, because the Lord blessed him. Lord is going to surely bless you. Whatever message, whatever problem you are going, this year God is going to bless you 100-fold. The man became rich, and his wealth continued to grow until he became very, very wealthy. Well, your crop is going to be increased. You will be reaped 100-fold. When means only when you stay strong in faith, when you are a man of prayer, when you love other as you love, when you love the God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. If you do that, surely even whatever the hard situation you face, you can overcome that conflict. Second thing, you have to make peace whenever possible. Don't fight with the people. Don't prove yourself you are right. Make peace with them, and you should be a man of prayer. Always make to say the prayer: Lord, lead me to the place where your presence, peace rest. Help me to live with the patience until I see your promise fulfilled. Let this happen in your life, in my life also. God bless you all. Amen.